Hello and welcome to More Than Kimchi. Well, it's a new week and Hwayoung and I have a new dish for you.
That's right. Well, Mark, today you look a little tired. Did you get enough sleep last night?
Well, actually, I went to the mountains yesterday and coming back to Seoul, the traffic was a little bit bad and so I'm a little bit tired.
Well, I think I got a perfect dish for you. Today we're going to have a beef and vegetable casserole.
Oh, beef and vegetable casserole. Well, wait, isn't that an American dish?
Well, I think casseroles are made throughout the world. Today, I'm going to show you Korean style, and it's high in calorie, so you can restore your energy when you're feeling a little bit under the weather.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. You know, when you talk about beef casseroles, I'm reminded of my childhood because my mom used to make this. This was her specialty, and used to fill the house with this wonderful meat smell. And I know that the foreign community here in Korea really enjoys bulgogi.
That's
so
right.
This sounds like a good dish.
Or that's why I chose it. You can just think of it as a bulgogi with a little bit of a twist.
Oh, great. All right. Well, you know, it sounds great, and my mouth is already watering. So let's find out about the ingredients.
Let's take a look at today's ingredients.
Okay.
Here, of course, we have beef, eggs, mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, soaked in hot water for about 20 minutes or so, mung bean sprouts. I have them cleaned here. Later I will tell you about this. And then we have soy sauce, sesame seed oil, sesame seeds, sugar, salt, and black pepper. And then I have a beef broth for the soup.
All right.
And for vegetables, I have carrots, and I have, this is radish, or sometimes you might know it as a turnip. This is oriental radish, and then green onions.
Now, I've noticed that Koreans really cook a lot or eat radishes a lot. I think they've been used for a long time, haven't they?
Oh, sure, and those are very stable, common vegetable we use it.
Okay.
First thing I'm gonna do is prepare meat for the dish, and you can just cut it. When you cut beef for this dish, cook it, cut it against the grain.
Oh, well, why do you do that?
That way, the beef, it's tender.
Oh, it's more tender. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so while you're doing that, what can I do?
I think you can, before I mentioned about the mung bean sprouts, when you buy them, to make it clean look, you don't really have to do it, but if you have time, you can also cut the head and the tail. That way it looks nice, white, and clean.
Now, let me just ask you about these. I know that Koreans usually eat these, I think they cook them, right? But in the West, I think we eat these raw sometimes, don't we?
Right. I think in West, it'll be great in your salad. But in general, in Korea, we always cook.
You do? Okay. All right, well, while you cut the meat there, shall I start on something?
Before we do that, I want to show you about the spice with this beef. Before I mentioned it's a bulgogi with a twist. The reason I said it because basic spice that you marinate is the same as bulgogi. So you are putting sesame seed oil, soy sauce, sesame powder, and sugar, pepper. And then maybe a little bit of salt.
And salt. Okay. Oh, so that's the same seasoning as
a bulgogi.
I see. Wow.
Just think of bulgogi in a soup for this dish.
Ooh, that sounds pretty delicious, doesn't it?
Now, next I'm going to do mushroom. Mushrooms, as I mentioned, you have to soak it in water. And sometimes when you don't have enough broth, you can also use the liquid because it has a lot of delicate mushrooms flavor.
Oh, I see. Now, for the 20-minute soaking is to loosen it up in order to make it easier to cut?
Because when they are dried, it's dried, you need to soak it in water to make it softer.
Oh, I see.
And you can help me with this mushroom. You cut the stem, and then you can save the stems for later.
Okay. Yeah, you're doing all the work today. I think I need to help you out
here.
No,
I think you're going to do more.
Okay. So I'm cutting the stems off.
Right.
All right. And, all right. I got this one here.
And after you cut the stem, you slice them maybe into 3 pieces.
Okay. Now, what can we use the stems for later on?
Later on, you can use a lot of different soup dish, or when you make a broth, you can also add them.
Okay. And then we're going to cut these in, you said 3 pieces or something?
That's right.
Okay.
And if it's just small, you can just cut it in half too. But the important thing is cut those vegetables and meat in a uniform size.
Okay.
And then next we're going to do radish and carrot.
All right. So what's the
it's
trick
really-
with the radish there?
I
Is there
think
any-
it's just usually size. Remember, size should be uniform. It's maybe like 5 centimeters by 2 centimeters.
Okay.
2 inches by maybe half an inch or so.
Okay. It seems like uniformity is very important with this dish, making sure
Yes,
everything...
because it looks neater, and when it's pretty, of course, it looks more delicious too.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, can I help with something?
Would you like to cut the, maybe onions.
Okay.
Just same length. You don't have to slice them, but try to make it as the same
Now, when I
length.
cut these, should I just cut a few at a time? Maybe that's better.
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
About 2
whatever.
inches, you said, right? 1.5
About
inch?
2 inches. About same length as what I prepared the
Okay.
radish here.
All right.
And then I'm going to cut carrot.
All right. Well, you know, cutting the onions here, this is one of my specialties. You won't regret having asked me to do this, because I've been practicing at home for this show, and I've now put onion cutting on my resume. So.
Okay. Remember, there are a lot of girls out there looking at you.
Yeah, I know. See, this is my practice for becoming a successful husband in Korea. You know how sometimes Koreans go to a cooking school or a refinery school? This is my training period so that I can attract a nice wife.
Now we prepare the vegetable. The next step I'm going to show you is I'm going to blanch the turnip or radish and the carrots.
Okay.
Just for a second,
All right.
because it's a little tougher than other vegetable.
Oh, I see. So that's just, you just put that in there just for a short while.
Right.
Okay. That already is beginning to smell good. Maybe it's, I don't know what I smell. Maybe it's the meat.
And while it's cooking, just for a second, I'm going to put a little bit of salt and sesame seed oil
Oh, wow. All
for
right.
the mushroom.
On the mushrooms? Oh, I've never seen that before.
Just give a little bit of flavor.
Really? Huh.
And I think the vegetable is cooked.
Oh, so you just
Okay,
really do put it
right.
in there for
Yeah.
a minute.
You are not really cooking, just blanching it so that way at the soft vegetable, it's going to be at the same time when you cook.
Okay. All right. So,
Take out over here.
all right. So you're getting the vegetables out. And then, what do you do with those vegetables?
These vegetables, I'll just sprinkle a little bit of salt. But the reason I'm cooking is so that we can, put other soft vegetables together with this.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So we've got these vegetables all set. And what's
I
next?
think we are pretty set now. Why don't we assemble the final dish?
All right. Wow, that was kind of quick. We're already ready to assemble.
That's right.
Okay.
So now here, first thing I'm going to do is put the vegetables.
All right.
Here's we have mung bean sprout. And sometimes we use the soybean sprout too, which is very popular for
I see.
Koreans. I think Koreans the only people who have soybean sprouts and mung bean sprouts. I know mung bean sprout is very popular, but we also love.
Yeah, I bet those sprouts are going
Sprouts,
to
good.
really add a nice touch to the dish overall. They taste really great.
Then I have mushrooms. And then green onions.
Okay. So is there any special way to put these in?
No, I think you can.
Right.
When you think of the color, perhaps you can, arrange by the colors, so it can show us all different colors in the dish.
You know, when I cook American food, I'm not usually worried about presentation, but I know that in Korea, a lot of times the way something looks, as we said earlier, is quite important. And so that's why I'm asking about that. Now, see,
then-
you've arranged this very nicely. You've got all the vegetables compartmentalized.
Well, when you eat, you mix it, but as you cook, at least I think we can present it in a nice color.
Okay.
Then I have carrots finally there.
Okay. Wow, this looks really good.
And any kind of vegetables will be fine. You vegetarians, just skip the meat and then use different kind of vegetable. That would be fine too.
Oh, that's a really good tip. All right. So if you're not a meat eater, then you can also make this a veggie dish.
That's right.
Now we'll ask about the broth a bit later when we get there, because I think the broth is going to have to be different.
I'm gonna
So
put it
you're gonna put that on the stove now?
on the
Okay.
stove. The final stage, I'm going
All
to
right.
put would you pass me
Sure.
the broth?
Sure.
And this is a beef broth, but you can also use, Koreans use dried anchovy as a soup base.
Oh, really?
And I think sometimes Japanese do too.
Dry anchovy.
Yeah, dry anchovy can be used for this soup base instead of beef.
I've never heard of that. That's a new thing for me. All right, so in other words, if you use the dried anchovy base, then it could be a vegetarian dish?
That's right.
I guess, if you don't eat anchovies anyway.
Oh, I'm
right.
sorry. Forgot one thing.
What's that?
I'm going to put beef.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be beef
Our
casserole.
main
I'm
ingredient.
sorry, I skipped the beef. So what you do is you put the beef right at the center.
Oh, okay. That looks really, really nice. All right. Yeah, I was a little bit worried there. Making the beef and vegetable casserole without the beef.
Next time, just remind me.
Okay.
So it's all assembled. What we need to do is wait for about 7 minutes to boil.
Oh, okay. Well, now, before we go to the tasting part of the program, we're going to introduce something new to our viewers, and that is our question of the day. The question of the day is what we have for you in order to help you learn a little bit about food history. Okay? So are you ready? Here comes today's question of the day. A silver, pink, and red are common types of this fish. That's right. The answer to today's quiz question was salmon. There are red salmon and silver salmon and pink salmon. I think they're talking about the coloration of the skin. Of course, there are also king salmon. Now, Hwa-young, do you enjoy salmon?
Oh, yeah, I do. And it's very popular in Korea, too. We sometimes roast it or make a chon. Many different ways of cooking in Korea, too.
We might have to have that as a future item here on More Than Kimchi. But today, we've got beef and vegetable casserole.
That's right.
And it's almost, it is done, isn't it?
It is done.
Okay.
Shall we take a look?
Yeah, let me see.
Ta-da!
Oh, wow. Hey, there's an egg in there. Now, when did you put the egg in?
At the final stage of cooking, you can also put one egg in the middle.
Oh.
And that way it gives a nice flavor with the
Wow.
soup.
This smells wonderful. It's bringing back all these memories of my childhood. And I, for one, am ready to dig in. So I hope you are too. Now, you've made this dish at home quite often, right?
And Koreans do this quite often, in matter of fact. And also, you can also eat this while you're cooking. You don't have to wait until everything is all completed. So about 7 minutes boiling. After that, you can just dig in.
Okay.
And this is also a table food. You can eat it, you can cook it at a table and eat while it's cooking.
I think that adds a really nice community spirit to the dish. And that when there's one, there's one dish right in the middle of the table and everyone's sharing it together. That's really nice.
And also because it has meat and various kinds of vegetable, it can be a one meal dish.
Okay.
So tonight for dinner, why don't you just prepare this with all you need is just kimchi and rice.
All right, I'm going to try it now. But go ahead, keep talking.
I want to see what you say about the dish. How is it?
Oh, hot.
You should also try the soup. The soup is really good.
As you can see, my eyes are watering. It's not tears of sorrow, but tears of joy. This is a
little
great
hot for
dish.
you, yeah.
No, yeah, it's the temperature is hot, not the spicy
Right.
hot. But it's really, really good. The vegetables and the beef really blend together. Now, you told me to try the broth, right?
Right.
So I'll try that. It's a little bit sweet, and it's just the vegetables and everything mixes together really well.
The sweetness comes from the vegetable.
I see.
Yes.
Now, you were mentioning that a lot of Korean dishes have water or a lot of soup.
A lot of soup. We really like soup. And in Western food or Chinese food, you take soup in the beginning of the meal. But for Koreans, we keep the soup throughout the meal. So you always, have some rice and then have some liquid. So soup is very important for Koreans.
Okay. Well, that's our dish today. Once again, thank you for teaching me. You're going to make me the perfect husband.
I hope so.
All right, so we'll be back again tomorrow with More Than Kimchi. Please join us again.
Thank you.